Now, if you always wanted an electric Mini, but that Mini Cooper SE was just too tiny, maybe not very practical, there's an answer for you now. The Mini Countryman in this new generation form has debuted as an all-electric model. Now, to start with, unlike the regular Mini Cooper that we just did, this car has actually grown in size. It's now bigger. It's almost as big as, say, its more mainstream rivals like the X1, which it's closely related to, or the iX1 in this case. It's very similar in size. It's got that more grown-up, more imposing sort of presence to it than before. And then, of course, you have this new Mini design theme. Now, this isn't a Cooper or the small hatchback, so it doesn't have to strictly follow that theme. So you can see that it has a more squared-off sort of headlamp design. Now, this grille itself, it's even bigger, like how people in this segment probably wanted. In this case, it's blanked out because this is the EV. And that very sort of neat arrangement for that ADAS sensor, although the car does not actually get ADAS. And then you have some really nice contrasting shades. For example, this bronze finish here. And generally, it's got that nice imposing stance that I just mentioned. Now, one of the things that Mini talks about is that it's de-chromed the car. And you notice that most, obviously, with this C-pillar, or the C-profile, sorry. But I must say that it's also very different from any other SUVs. It's got a more blocky, sort of squared-off look, the whole car generally. But I must say that the profile, if you can see it, has a very striking look. You notice this with these black bands. I mean, it's very crowded, so I can't show you the full profile, but you notice this with this black band, the floating roof effect, which by itself has a sort of kink to it, a slight slope to it. And that really does, even though the car has grown, it gives it a compact, smart look, as you would want a Mini, of course. But there's one more aspect to it that's really quite different. One of the things that you don't see very often in any cars, and which gives this Countryman a very differentiated look, is this sort of C-pillar element. It's very different, and you can supposedly choose different sort of textures and finishes for this, which is a good thing. So that's very different and gives this what would have otherwise been a very boring profile, this slightly smart edge. You also get some really nice smart big wheels. These are 19 inches, which sort of fill up the wheel well, pretty well. Now again, you notice that the rear is very different from what the Countryman used to be like. Yes, you still have those sort of vertical like tail lamps with that Union Jack sort of finish to it, same 8-bit sort of look to it. And like the other Mini, the Mini Coopers, you can also choose those experiences in the dash, which give you different sort of light signatures on the outside. But you will notice that again, it's become a bit more minimalistic, but not at the cost of practicality. You get a powered tailgate, which is good. And yeah, this being an EV, you don't get a spare wheel, but you do have a decent amount of boot space, 550 liters. Now, when you step inside the Mini Countryman Electric, you will realize that it's the interiors that do an equally good job of sort of catching your eye as the exteriors did. Now, this is due to this completely new theme that Mini's come up with. Again, it's very similar to the hatch that we saw. It is quite minimalistic, quite reduced, but still has that sort of retro theme going on quite strongly. Now, you notice that with all the textile that's been used. Now, of course, you have a lot of textured finish over here, but this whole dash face is textured. There's textures even around the wireless charging pad, and even around this quite different sort of inverted center console. And then keeping with that theme, you also have this textured finish on this door. Now, very nice touch is how it sort of fades into from the blue to the orange, and also these sort of bronze finishes on these vertical door handles. There's something you don't see in many cars, and they're really quite special. Similarly, and all of this, of course, is made of a pretty high quality, and that you can also say that for the vents here. Now, these move with a good tactile finish, but even better, now even though a lot of the functions are in this screen, you still get a toggle function for the gear selector, the power button, these experiences that Mini calls them now, where you can choose various modes to sort of not just change the ambience, but how the car feels. In that sense, it's really quite smart. Now, the textile theme also goes into the steering wheel, but what you can't get your head around is the screen, which again is the centerpiece, the 240mm diameter OLED screen. And this being an EV, there are quite a few additional features. For example, you get this full sort of charging function right here, which is quite helpful. You also get regen mode right from here. There are no paddles, considering this is still a BMW product. A Mini sound where you can sort of change what kind of driving sound you have. So all of that is pretty great. Now, I'll quickly show you that other feature which these infotainments get, which is that speedometer. Now, it's again very neatly done, very different from what you might find in any other EV, and it changes with each theme, as you can see. I can quickly go through each theme and it will become completely different. But again, my personal favorite is this timeless theme. And then just like that car there, I can show you that this too has that interior camera where I can choose to have fun with whoever I'm traveling with. So it's a fun, sort of really smart place to spend time, but it's pretty well equipped too. So you have full power adjustment for this seat, a lot of lumbar support, a Harman Kardon audio system, a full panoramic sunroof, so a wireless charger, dual zone AC. So in that regard, you won't be feeling shortchanged at all. Now, one of the things that has happened with this car becoming bigger is that the back is now more spacious. Now you have 2.5 centimeters more of width, which means that even a third passenger will fit pretty comfortably. As you can see now, even though this is an EV, it doesn't have too big of a hump in the middle. It's got a nearly flat floor, and the seats themselves, they are quite nicely cushioned. I mean, it's got that soft leather feel to it, and like the rest of the cabin, the seats are actually leatherette, so they fit quite nicely. Yeah, of course, you sit in a slightly knees up position as you do because of the high floor, but it's in the context of EVs, it's not all that bad. But I must say that the quality that you see in the front is also brought back here. So all of this is still got that smart textile material, well finished door handle, and then that similarly sort of funkyish mini styling even at the back. Now otherwise you will notice that it's quite similar to the iX1, for example, especially the way these vents are the same, sort of very similar sort of charging arrangement, and also very similar is I'll just show you a recline function, which again reclines to quite a neat angle. So of course you have a panoramic sunroof as well, and this armrest. Now the Mini Countryman Electric, it's priced at rupees 54.9 lakh, and it competes with the likes of the Mercedes EQA and the single motor Volvo XC40 Recharge, and maybe even the Kia EV6. So what do you think about it? With its smart, fresh look, is it something like, would you, if you didn't consider an EV, would you pick the Mini Countryman? Let us know in the comments.